If people at work describe you as easy to work with, that's not always a compliment. In fact, it's often the reason why you're overworked, overlooked, and burning out without even realizing it. In today's video, I'm going to break down what easy to work actually means and translates in corporate, the costs behind it, and how to shift out of this pattern without damaging your reputation. As a former HR leader in the financial and tech industries, I've worked with managers at all levels. And when they tell me that their team members are easy to work with, I've asked them to share their insights, and this is what they told me. If you're easy to work with, you don't push back. You take on last-minute requests. And I know you're going to say yes, even when you shouldn't. You don't complicate things for others. Essentially, you make your manager's job and your colleague's job a whole lot easier, even if you put strain on yourself and you make your job harder. And that's where the hidden cost starts. You become the default, the go-to person for everything, not because it's your role or it's your responsibilities, it's because you don't say no. You don't have boundaries. The second hidden cost is your standards get exploited. High performers are easy to work with, and they often over-deliver consistently, and people know that. So instead of being rewarded for your efforts, it becomes the expectation, and that's why you're overlooked. That's also one of the reasons why when your colleagues do exactly the same thing that you've been doing for years, they get recognized for it and you don't. Because in management's eyes, what they're doing is not the standard. So they're going above and beyond. The next hidden cost is you lose strategic visibility. You're so busy executing and helping others, you're not positioned as a strategic thinker. You're just seen as someone who gets the work done. And let me tell you, strategic thinkers are valuable. Management promotes strategic thinkers. Managers retain strategic thinkers when there's a layoff. I worked with a senior leader in product management, and his team was always short-staffed, and the work was constantly piling on. He was committed to his job. He would dedicate his nights and weekends to keeping his team caught up because he was the type of leader that would roll up his sleeves, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when he shared with me that his goal was to become a VP, I was very transparent with him and told him that's not going to happen. He was shocked that I said that and asked why. I told him, because you're so focused on the tactical, you're not focused on the strategic. And that's what management looks for in senior leadership. I even advised him that he should spend his time building a strong business case to get additional staffing. That was going to be his next step. But unfortunately, he got let go with the layoff. The next hidden cost, resentment builds quietly. You might not say it out loud, but internally, it starts eating you up alive and starts feeling unfair. And of course, burnout then becomes inevitable because you're operating without limits. This is where you need to set boundaries because only you can change that. This typically happens with high performers, and it's due to a number of reasons. And they all go hand in hand. It starts off with early conditioning. Think back when you were a kid. We were always told to share and help others. So that tied our value to being needed, to being the reliable one. As we got older, we were told to be a team player. We didn't want to disappoint. And so when we're requested to do things, we say yes to avoid conflict. Now, the problem here is what helped us succeed early on works against us as we climb the corporate ladder. These are the topics that we talk about in the Mindful Career Journey program, and this is my burnout recovery and stress management course and community. Being easy to work with is not the goal. Being clear, respected, and intentional is. I've worked with leaders at small startups to Fortune 500 companies. And I can tell you that the most effective leaders are not the easiest to work with. They are the clearest and the most intentional. So now you may be wondering, well, what can I do? There are a number of things that you can do instead. So the first one is replace yes with let's prioritize. Instead of agreeing with every single request that comes your way, say this instead. I can take this on, but what will shift in priority? This lets your manager know that you already have a lot on your plate and there's only a limited number of hours in a day. I don't want you to spend nights and weekends working on this. I want you to prioritize with your manager. The second thing you can do is to create friction strategically. Friction is not bad. It signals that you have boundaries and limits. If everything is easy, think about it. You're absorbing the cost. The next thing is to stop pre-solving problems. You're probably the type of person that foresees issues becoming problems. You get ahead of yourself and address those problems before they even get escalated. And half the time, your manager doesn't even know that you're addressing these problems because you're too humble to talk about it or overwhelmed to even bring it up. Let others own their problems. I'm not telling you not to help, but helping and collaborating does not mean that you have to overextend yourself and overfunction. And the last is to audit where you're overextending. Evaluate your calendar each week. Determine where you're being intentional and where you're overextending yourself out of pure habit. Here's a perfect example. You're the backup for someone who is on vacation or on medical leave. You temporarily take on those responsibilities. And then you end up owning them out of pure habit, even after they've returned from time off. Delegate it back to them. It's not yours to own or to carry. Now, if being easy to work with means you're constantly overextended, overlooked, and exhausted, it's not a strength. It's a pattern, and patterns can be changed. If you're ready to learn more, schedule a strategy session. I offer a few complimentary sessions each week. I'll include the link in the description box below. And in the meantime, I'd love to know, have you ever been told that you're easy to work with? And if so, did it actually benefit you or cost you? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.